Hi guys, my name is Rick Henderson. If you don't know me, I am the youth pastor at First Baptist Church of San Antonio, and I am here to talk to you about Impact Camp. In lieu of our parent meeting either being on Zoom or in person, I figured the easiest way would just be to record a video and allow you guys to send this out. If you have friends that may be wanting some of this information, you can forward it to them. Also, if you have questions, you can either contact me directly or you can put them in the comments below, and we can all look at those and see those, and I can answer those. So if you think there's something that other parents might want to know or other questions that might be asked, go ahead and put those in the comments and I'll filter through those and answer those down there after the fact. But I want to talk about Impact Camp because we are so excited about Impact Camp. It is happening. It is moving. If you remember me last year saying it was kind of like, oh, well, it may be happening, it may change. And we ended up going through like 5 different iterations of what camp was going to look like. But this year is the opposite. The closer we get to camp time, the more comfortable and more confident I am that we're going to have a great camp. Let's run through some of our details here for you guys. We're also going to be sending in an email with this link, there's a what to bring list. If you don't get this and you're just viewing this on YouTube and need this, you can contact me via email and I can send this. That's Rick at fbcsa.org. Rick as in Rick at fbcsa.org. So feel free to contact me any of those ways if you have questions. We'll send this itinerary out with that. But just so you know, a couple of the details, we are going to Southwestern Assemblies of God University in Waxahachie. We are really excited to be there. There's a long story of how we ended up here, and I'm happy to tell you guys that. If you ever are wondering, God really just had his hand moving us here, and these people have been so great to work with. It reminds me of a lot of the way Laterno was like several years ago, for those of you that may remember that. So for years, Impact Camp has been at a college campus, and then Laterno a few years ago told us they couldn't have us back. And we went to an encampment, and overwhelmingly our students told me that they like the college campus better than the encampment atmosphere, which was a surprise to me, but it's great. We love it. It brings on a very much an intellectual feel. It promotes that university scholastic lifestyle. It's just a win-win for everybody involved going to a college campus. We will be sleeping in dorm rooms with 2 beds in each room. For the most part, they will be suite style. That's not again. Some of them might have community bathrooms, but they're more than likely going to be suite style, especially for our girls. We'll make sure that they get that. Guys can deal with the community bathroom a little more. But more than likely, there will be 2 bedrooms with 2 beds. They will share a bathroom. And that's so if you would, with those dorm room styles, you will need to bring a sleeping bag or sheets. They're not comfy. If you ever stayed in a college dorm room, you know they're kind of the squishy beds. They're not really that comfy. So I typically bring a sleeping bag and a sheet and use that. But you're welcome to bring a full bedroll or whatever you want to do. People bring all sorts of crazy stuff with them. Whatever you think's most comfortable and you're willing to carry yourself up to your room. That's what I'm going to leave it at. The beds, they will not be providing towels or bedding. You have to bring all of that yourself. Obviously, toiletries, all that stuff you need to be bringing as well too. All of that is in that itinerary that we're going to be sending out to you as well. A couple things I want to discuss with this. COVID protocols. That is the thing that is probably a lot of people are wanting to know. So let me just say this. I feel that each week it's getting better and better. As of right now, what we're going to do is require masking in hallways, in common spaces where you will be around people that are not from your church for sure. And even within our church, we're going to provide places for them to space out so that they can unmask if they need to be. But especially if they are going to be in contact with someone from another church in a close proximity, we will be requiring masks in those moments. So a couple things that those will be family groups. Family groups are are groups of people from all the different churches that have been combined together to make a Bible study group. If those groups do not meet outside, then they will be required to mask indoors, just because they're not going to be spaced out. So they're going to have to mask as much spaced out. So they're going to have to mask if they're indoors. The thing that we're working through right now is worship time. We're going to for sure make sure that our churches sit together. We already have a plan in place that churches will be sitting with each church, and they will be at least 6 to 10 feet from any other church that will be there. So we can guarantee that we'll be spaced from other churches. The question that we're going to need to address is, what are our masking protocols within our church? What I'm saying right now is there is going to be ample seating in there. Let's space out. And if you, just like you would at First Baptist Church, if you came to our 11 o'clock service, you would walk in, you'd have to wear your mask until you sat down at your pew. And if you were spaced out from other people, you could take your mask off at that time. That's how we're going to probably run worship at this point. Obviously, things could change. We could hear a national mandate of something going one way or the other. So this is all subject to change. But right now, masking to and from events, masking in hallways, common spaces, and masking around people that are not from our church. Even within our church, like I said, we will be masking some too. I sent those protocols out in writing a couple weeks ago. You can find those in your email. I can send those to you as well. Also, once again, very much subject to change. But just so you know, we will be requiring masks when they're for sure around other people. And what we're working through right now is we're probably going to require them on our buses as well. Since we will be taking buses, there's no way we can afford to get enough buses to space out the way that we need to, especially that we're expecting about 100 students to be attending with First Baptist Church. So we're expecting that, and I don't think that we can afford to do that many buses. So we're just going to do 2 buses. We're going to recommend that they sit with their roommate. So if we have to do any sort of contact tracing, we can kind of say they're with their roommate. And even because in those dorm rooms, we're not going to be making them mask up while they're sleeping. Just not going to work. So you do not have to social distance around your roommate. So that person is who you will sit with on the bus, and then we'll try to get suite mates as best as we can as well too at that point. And masking in those buses, that will just make things a lot easier. So those are a few of our protocols that we're going to be looking at. Masks will be required in hallways, common spaces, buses, and seminars, family groups, all of those types of things. So those will be the main COVID protocols that we'll be adhering. We will have a nurse with us, Dana Stinson, and I will be working with Dana to figure out our best protocols and what will happen if someone begin to show symptoms or signs. We would contact the parents and contact everyone involved and begin to work through that. I don't expect that to happen. I think things are going really well, and our church has been blessed throughout this entire pandemic. Nobody has gotten sick during a worship time with us or because they attended worship. So I firmly believe that God is going to protect us and take care of us, continue, especially with how low our numbers are across the state right now. So that's where we're at. We probably will do some sort of temperature test before they load the bus and do a symptom check periodically throughout the week. But they're nothing to be worried about or to be afraid of. I think this is going to be super simple, super easy, but we're going to be safe and cautious all at the same time. So I'm excited. I think with those rules in place, that does not take away from anything that we're going to be able to do at camp. Everything, we have plenty of space in the worship setting and plenty of space in the rooms to space out as needed. It's going to be great. So I'm not worried about that at all. For those of you that may be new to Impact Camp, a little bit of what to expect. The way I've been trying to explain to our 6th and 7th graders who have not been to Impact Camp, I said, do you like kids camp? They're like, yes, we love kids camp. I go, it's kids camp times 10. And they're like, whoa. So, because that's not to take, I'm not going to say that it's like so much better than kids camp, because I love kids camp. And I think that Jimmy does a great job making Camp Zephyr. But what I do think is that Impact Camp just takes everything at Kids Camp and brings it to the next level, because we're a little bit older. We can do a little bit more freedom, a little bit more intellectual. Our brains become more stimulated. We get a little bit more of the emotions and feelings and energy that comes with being around 500 teenagers. And that's what we're expecting. We're expecting 500 teenagers from across the state of Texas to be joining us at this camp. And it's going to be epic and awesome. So in those times, so we're going to have Bible studies, we're going to have worship times, we're going to have fun events, we're going to have recreation, there'll be Gaga, 9 Square, all this stuff. So we've worked really hard with it being a college campus to make sure that there's events throughout the day that would take the place of the free time that you would have at an encampment. And so we have all that. We have everything, and it's just a wonderful atmosphere, and way better and way more air conditioning than at an encampment. Because it's hot. It's going to be hot. But we're going to have a lot of fun. Personalities. The first thing that I want to say about personalities that you can expect is our pastors will be there speaking to our church directly. Danny Panter will be doing a session every single morning with our students, and Chris Johnson will be doing a session every single afternoon with just our students. So our pastors are going to speak to them. So you'll have Danny, they'll have Chris, and they'll have me throughout the whole time. But they'll get 3 of our pastors speaking directly into them. Then they're going to have a guy by the name of Zach Van Veldhuizen. I probably said that wrong. I never can say it. Zach Vandalism. So he was a former associate here at First Baptist Church, went on to become a youth minister, and now he's planted a church in Brooklyn, New York, doing great things. So they'll hear from him. Our band is a group that leads at Breakaway at Texas A&M, led by a guy by the name of Jack Thweet. Oh, he's so good. He's really good. Obviously, leading for such a huge conference like Breakaway, he's got to be really good, and he is the best. And that's a little bit of kind of what to expect, what to hear, what's going to be going on. I've talked about family groups being merged with people from all over the state, times with just our church folk hearing words from our pastors, and then being with 500 people hearing from Zach. There's different ways, and we organize this so that there's different types of learning, different types of hearing, so that each person gets a little bit different. And by the end of the week, you have such an amazing experience that you can look back and say, God changed me in this way this week. There will be Vespers. There will be church recreation tournaments. There will be all sorts of good stuff like that. So if there's any more specific questions that you have about camp, I think that's the basis that you can follow. But if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me. Once again, check out this itinerary and what to bring list. We'll have that available for you guys. And feel free to share this on and send it out to more people. If you have friends or anyone that's concerned, you can shoot this their way. But questions, drop them in the comments below, text me, or email me. I gave you that email earlier in this video, so feel free to reach out to me with anything we have. We are excited. One last thing. I've told our students, and I may be regretting this, if they hit 110 students, which would be one more than what we had 2 years ago, I'm going to eat this thing called, it's upside down, a little nitro gummy bear. Basically, my mouth and stomach are going to be on fire if they reach 110 people, just so y'all can know what's going on. So I'm hoping they do hit 110. My body is not, but I'm hoping that they reach that goal, so that we have, not just for the sake of having a big group or taking more people, but just for the sheer fact that our students can experience the Lord this week and have an encounter with him and let their life be changed. The lost will become saved, and the saved will grow deeper in their relationship. That is why we do Impact Camp. That's why we do Youth Camp. Youth Camp is the reason I am a youth pastor. This will be every single year since 8th grade. I've attended a youth camp, and I'm excited to say that it continues this year. Sign up for Impact Camp, and we will see you there.